Happy Wednesday. Let's go ahead and get started on our fair game review for the day before we get going on our notes. Okay, so here is our fair game review. Now, we've been doing a lot of substitution, and what I want to do is I want to stretch our thinking with our substitution and give us some a little tougher problems. So let's do 3 today, and let's start with one that was fairly straightforward. 4x plus 3 when x equals 7. Now remember, we have 3 steps. Rewrite the expression, like I just did, substitute, simplify. So I'm going to do 4, and I'm going to multiply, because a number next to a variable means to multiply by 7 plus 3. Rewrite the expression, substitute, now simplify. Now when I simplify, I'm going to have more than one step because I have more than one operation. So 4 times 7 is 28. Drop down the plus 3, and my final answer is 31. Okay? Perfect. Let's look at one that's just a little bit more challenging. Okay? So we are going to do, let's do number 2 right here. Let's do 3m squared. Let's just do 2 examples today. 3m squared plus 5n over 2. That's right. We're going to have an exponent, and we're going to have a fraction in there, or a division. And we're going to say that m is equal to, how about 4? And how about n is equal to 6? Okay, those will still end up nicely. So rewrite the expression, substitute, and simplify. So 3 times 4 goes in the parentheses, squared. Okay, remember the exponent is attached to the number you're going to operate it with. So 4 squared first, plus 5 times 6 all over 2. All I did was rewrite this expression with the numbers, okay? Now let's start to simplify. With this guy, I have to do 4 squared first, because 4, or the exponent is attached to the 4. So we're going to do 3, don't forget your parentheses, times 16 plus, now I'm going to go ahead and operate 5 times 6 because it does not affect this, okay? This is a separate term, and you can actually simplify the individual terms. So I have 30 divided by 2. So now I have to do 3 times 16, and then I have to do 30 divided by 2. 3 times 16, if you've put that in your calculator, I believe is 48. Let me know if I'm wrong. Plus 30 divided by 2 is 15. Notice I can simplify a little bit further because these are individual terms, but once I'm down to just 48 plus 15, I'm going to add those, and I believe we should get 63. Okay? And that is it for our review. Leave that there for a second. All right, let's get on to the fun stuff. So believe it or not, today I get to teach you one of my most favorite things to do in math. You'll hear me say that a lot, but that's okay. But I do love this property. I love being able to just manipulate numbers, okay? So our learning target for today is we will use the distributive property. We learned what this was, but not how to use it. So today we learn how to use it to simplify expressions. Okay, and I'll start with numeric expressions, and then we will go to algebraic expressions. Okay? Okay. So go ahead and underline distributive property, because that's the thing that we need to go ahead and define. Distributive property. Okay. And I'm going to give you my definition of distributive property. Really, you just multiply the number on the outside of the parentheses by everything on the inside of the parentheses. Okay? That's what you're doing. So this is when you multiply the number on the outside of the parentheses by everything on the inside. Okay, take a second if you're like, whoa, my hand is totally killing me with all that writing. Take a second if you need to. Here's something really, really cool that I want you to write down. You can use this to multiply large numbers. And perhaps you've seen your teachers do this with mental math. So if you like mental math, the really might be for you. Okay, so let me first show you how to use this to multiply by a large number. Okay, this is just to kind of see how you could use it. So let's say I wanted you to multiply 5 times 41, and I said multiply that in your head. Okay, hopefully some of you are going 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 4 is 20. You've got that 0 in there, and you bring it down, and you've got your number. Okay. Another way to think about 40, okay, is about breaking it into place value. So what if I rewrote this as 5 times 40 plus 1? Because we know that 41 and 40 plus 1 is the same thing. Okay, now, when we use the distributive property, we're multiplying the number on the outside of the parentheses by everything on the inside of the parentheses. So this is how it works. I say 5 times 40. I say 5 times 1. Okay, and I draw these arrows. And I actually have a saying to help me remember this, which is really silly. I have 2 daughters, and to distribute means to share. So I oftentimes think of this number having to share with both of these numbers. So I say give one to Chloe and give one to Emma. Give one to Chloe, give one to Emma. And what I'm essentially doing is I'm saying, well, I need to do 5 times 40 because that's the first thing I need to multiply, and 5 times 1. Okay? When I multiply 5 times 40, the reason why I did this is because when you multiply 5 times 4, you get 20, plus an extra 0 is 200, plus 5 times 1 is 5, so I get 205. Now, if you practice this enough on paper, you actually can see how this works in your head. Okay? I want to show you one more number, and then we're going to move on to variable terms. Okay? Let's look at a number like, here's another example. Okay? 7 times 36. This, we don't have the distributive property yet. It isn't until it looks like this that we have the distributive property. Okay? So here we go. I'm going to rewrite 36 as 30 plus 6. So I'm going to rewrite it as 7 times the quantity 30 plus 6. Because 30 plus 6 is just another way of saying 36. When I apply the distributive property, okay, this is where I take the 7 and I share it with the 30 and I share it with the 6. Give one to Chloe, give one to Emma. So give one to Chloe, give one to Emma. Okay, so I have 7 times 30, and drop that plus sign because it says that, 7 times 6. Okay, do you see how I could do this mental math easier? 7 times 3 is 21. Add a 0, you get 210. 7 times 6 is 42. Look, I can add those easy, and I have 252. If you throw 7 times 36 in your calculator, you're going to get 252. Okay, I'm going to turn the page, and we're going to see why this is important right now. Okay. So, please title your page Distributive Property with variables. Okay? Distributive property with variables. So we can simplify expressions, okay, using the distributive property. Let's say I have something like this. Please write this down. 6 times the quantity n plus 7. Now, if I wanted to combine like terms, right now, all of my terms, like half of them are in a parentheses. We've got to get rid of the parentheses. So that's where we apply the distributive property. Give 1 to Chloe. If you draw these arrows, it'll make it easier. Give 1 to Emma. And also the reason why we want to draw the arrows is because sometimes there's more than 3 terms in here. Okay? So give 1 to Chloe, give 1 to Emma. Now, rewrite this with the multiplication. So first I'm doing 6 times n, because when you have a number next to a variable, it means to multiply. 6 times n, and 6 times 7. Now, what happens when I multiply 6 times n? Well, this is really 1n. So 6 times 1n is just 6n. What happens when I multiply 6 times 7? I get 42. Now I have individual terms that can be combined if this was in a different math expression. Okay? Distributive property. Let's take a look at another example. Okay. 4 times the quantity 2x plus 5. Okay. Use your arrows to apply the distributive property. Give 1 to Chloe. Give 1 to Emma. Okay. I'm drawing the arrows to show that I should have 2 products. I should have 2 multiplication problems. Okay. I should have 4 times 2x and 4 times 5. So let's write those down. 4 times 2x. Because I'm sharing the 4 with the 2x and I'm sharing the 4 with the 5, plus 4 times 5. Okay, now we just need to simplify. 4 times 2x. If I have 4 2x's, I have 2x, 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 I have 8x. 4 times 2 is 8, so I have 8x. Plus 4 times 5 is 20. There's your final answer. I like to circle these just so I know that I'm done. Believe it or not, this is a simplified math expression. Okay, what do you think so far? Easy peasy lemon squeezy? Let's look at another example. Let's look at one with 3 terms. How about 7 times the quantity x plus 4y, and I want a constant number. How about 8? So, believe it or not, I have 3 kids. I just happen to have 2 girls that argue a lot, which is why I always have to share. Give 1 to Chloe, give 1 to Emma. But I actually have 3 kids. So I'm going to give 1 to Chloe, I'm going to give 1 to Emma, and I'm going to give 1 to Caleb, who's a senior in high school and very rarely has to share with his sisters because he doesn't want to play with their toys. So notice that I have 7 times x, I have 7 times 4y, and I have 7 times 8. I should have 3 products instead of 2. So let's write those down. 7 times x plus sign, 7 times 4y plus sign, and 7 times 8 is 56. Okay? Now let's just go ahead and make sure that we simplify each of these terms. 7 times x, friends, that's just 7x. 7 times 4y. Remember, 7 times 4 is 28, so I have 28y. And, oh, you guys, I should have written that as 7 times 8. I apologize. Okay, I should have written this as 7 times 8. I got a little ahead of myself. I apologize. Okay. Let's look at an example with subtraction. Let's say I have 5 times 6m minus 8. Okay? Don't let that subtraction scare ya. Give 1 to Chloe. Give 1 to Emma. Okay? I should have 2 products. I should have 5 times 6n and 5 times 8. So let's say 5 times 6m. But look, instead of addition, I have subtraction. So I'm just going to drop that subtraction down there, and 5 times 8. Okay? 5 times 6m is 30m. And I'm going to subtract 5 times 8, which is 40. Just drop it down. All right, one last example that you might see is when there's a variable on the outside. So let's say that I have m times the quantity 3k plus 8. I'm going to do the same thing. Give one to Chloe. Give one to Emma. Okay, I have two products because I have two arrows, m times 3k and n times 8. So m times 3k plus m times 8. Okay, when you're multiplying a number and a variable, you're just going to slide the variable behind the number because the coefficient always comes first. So I would change this to 3mk or 3km, okay, because they're all being multiplied. As a matter of fact, this is the same as 3m times 3 times k. With the commutative property, I can switch the order of these, and I have 3 times m times k. I just applied the commutative property, and that's how I got that. Plus m8, well, we know that the coefficient needs to come before the variable, so plus 8m. Okay, now this is a pretty advanced part of this skill. All right, now I want to apply. Okay, so we are going to combine like terms like we did on Monday, but within the term we're going to have this, and this is how it's going to make sense for why we were doing this. Okay, so we're going to combine like terms. Okay, let's say you have the expression 4 plus 3 times 8x plus 7. Okay, I want to combine like terms. I see that I have a constant number there and a constant number there. But before I can go and circle my terms, I have to get rid of the parentheses. And that's why we have the distributive property. So I can give one to Chloe, and I can give one to Emma. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore the 4 plus, and I am just going to do this. Okay, so I'm going to say 3 times 8x and 3 times 7. And then go ahead and drop your 4 down. Okay, again, I'm going to cover this up, and I want to just make sure that I simplify these. So 3 times 8x is 24x plus 21. Don't forget to drop down your plus 4. Now look, friends, I have terms that I can combine. I have like terms, this one and this one. So I'm going to circle my terms. I have 4. The other like term to 4 is 21. But remember, circle the term, circle the sign that goes with the term. Then I see 24x. And I'm adding it, so don't forget that sign. Okay, I'm combining like terms, but first I have to get rid of the parentheses. This is a super challenge. So I have 4, cross it out, plus 21, cross it out. I have plus 24x, cross it out. Okay, all I have left to do is combine 4 and 21, which is 25. Drop down my plus 24x. So I want to show you something. Okay. This up here. Okay. When I wrote 4 plus 3 times the quantity 8x plus 7, this whole craziness, with a little maneuvering using math properties, we're able to get it down to 2 terms. Okay, that's how you simplify and combine like terms. Okay, you'll have 1 or 2 of these in your practice for this week. Please let us know if you have any questions. You guys are doing great. Have a great day.